Welcome back, my friends. Episode 88. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I'm going to start with a quote from no other than Steven Pressfield, the person we've been talking about in the last 2 episodes. When we're living as amateurs, we're running away from our calling, meaning our work, our destiny, the obligation to become our truest and highest selves. Addiction becomes a surrogate for our calling. We enact the addiction instead of embracing the calling. Why? Because to follow a calling requires work. It's hard. It hurts. It demands entering the pain zone of effort, risk, and exposure. What a great quote. The last 2 episodes we talked a lot about the things that hold us back from our dream, from our project, and the thing that is calling us, but that somehow we cannot get started or finished. Steven Pressfield calls this force resistance in his wonderful book, The Art of War, which I have reviewed in episode 86 and 87. Today I want to give you a few more tips from my own experience that can help you combat resistance. And I'm not going to repeat anything that I already mentioned from the book. I shared my favorite snippets with you, so re-listen maybe to those 2 episodes in addition to today's if you want to have a complete picture. So maybe you feel burned out at work and you want to utilize more of your creative energy, or you're experiencing blocks to creativity that hold you back from producing like you want to. Maybe you're overloaded with other things or simply don't know how to get started. In whichever way resistance shows up in your life, here are a few things that will help you get started, will help you continue, or maybe even finish your task. And number 1 is get organized. Here's a quote. The sure sign of an amateur is he has 1,000,000 plans and they all start tomorrow. Of course, this is from Pressfield. And we push things off because we are not organized. Every day is a scramble. Traffic, errands, our job, our family. We crash into bed at the end of the day, hoping that the next one will be better. Living this way, it's understandable when people say they won't have time to start yet something else. So my advice is get organized. And I cannot emphasize enough how important this is. When adding something new into your daily rhythm, you have to adjust all your other routines around it. Pressfield talks a lot about routines in his book. They are critical. They will keep you in check. Use a schedule to plan your activities and make room for the thing that you want to do. You also need to organize your physical spaces. If the laundry is piling up in the bedroom, books are everywhere, and the cleaning is overdue, it is much harder to sit down and relax over your creative project. Most of my podcast work takes place on weekends, but that is also when I have to clean my apartment and do laundry. So over the last few months, I've become much smarter about organizing and executing these duties because I noticed that they interfered with my weekend time. I have my weekend mornings planned out. I squeeze a load of laundry in here and there during the week. That way the pile awaiting me on the weekend is not so large. Organizing means you prepare for your project. You make room for it physically in your house, on the calendar, and also in your mind. Body and mind always work together. We talked about this before. Number 2 is move your body. Exercising keeps the creative juices flowing and makes you feel good. Keep this in mind. Your creative project may not involve a lot of moving. Sometimes it can even be hard on certain parts of your body, depending on what you do. Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel in extreme uncomfortable conditions, standing with his head tilted upwards for extended periods of time. So take into consideration that you will be sitting or standing for stretches of time. And then use exercise to balance yourself out. In addition to movement, it may also help give you inspiration. You will need breaks anyway, so why not take a walk? Exercise helps to wake up your mind. It gives you energy and provides you with clarity. If you find yourself unable to concentrate, if you feel sluggish or tired, don't let resistance creep in with negative thoughts like, I just can't do it, or I'm too tired, and this is just not my day. Go challenge your body with some physical movements instead of wasting downtime in front of the TV. And speaking of television, my third point is control your distractions. The biggest distractions for those of us that work a lot on their computer, the internet. Here's a quote from Pressfield. The amateur tweets, the pro works. So turn off all your notifications. Even consider turning off Wi-Fi if you don't need it. It can be easy to check your phone or social media updates every now and then, but if you don't control it, it can be detrimental to your progress, and it can cause blocks to your creativity. Especially if you find yourself reading articles or shopping on Amazon during the time that you've set aside for working. Control your TV time. Many people turn on the TV unconsciously, just to have the noise in the background. If you cannot focus at home, maybe find a place outside to get your work done, if it's possible. You know I love coffee shops, but not all coffee shops are good for working. This week, I walked into one that I had not been before. There was horrible traffic on the way to work, so I exited the freeway and I discovered a neat little area with a coffee shop. I had a conference call and I just decided to take it there. It was a huge space with artwork on the walls, couches and tables, free Wi-Fi, and I could see myself working there. In the past, I never thought I could, but over the years, I learned to tune out noise, and now sometimes I'm even more focused in a noisy coffee shop than in my quiet home. If you live near a university, take advantage of the libraries, or try your local library. Oakland has several of them, and some of them are in very old, charming buildings that can inspire your work. Find what works for you, and if you cannot tune out the distractions, change your location. And the last point I would like to make, and suggestion I have for you is, aim at consistency. Let's be honest, most of the time we are inconsistent with a lot of the things that we do. We have goals that we start, but we only work towards them occasionally, when we feel inspired or motivated, or when life allows us to do so. At the slightest distraction or interference, we drop our plans. I think the problem lies in our culture that promotes fast fixes and quick solutions. 30 days to a leaner body, become fluent in French in 90 days, earn a degree in 6 months. We seem to have little patience, and marketers cater to it. And when we don't see the quick results that are promised to us, we give up. Being consistent with something is becoming a skill that we need to start to learn again. Being consistent means sticking with what you've started. In step 1, when you organize, plan on things getting hard. There will be days when you feel like quitting, when you don't feel like showing up, when you don't want to write, lift weights, draw, practice, or play. Recall, I didn't say be consistent. I said aim at consistency. And this means to think about this before you start and while you're working at it. Sign up for the long term. Forget about the 30-day program. That's for quitters. If you can do 30 days, you can do 30 weeks. Make a decision to be in it for the long term, or just don't start. Remember, you're making a dream come true here. This is not just cooking a meal or reading a book. This is serious stuff. You're on a higher road. You are seeking your purpose. So put purpose behind your goal and don't take it lightly. Commit and be consistent. You miss a day? Okay, it happens. But get back on it. Know your why, because that will carry you through the times when you don't feel like doing your work. The opposite, and this is a quote, the opposite of fear is love. Love of the challenge, love of the work, the pure joyous passion to take a shot at our dream and see if we can pull it off. By Steven Pressfield. I wish these recent episodes have helped you. Maybe you feel more motivated to start your project, your dream, or your business. I'd love to hear from you. Maybe you have questions, and maybe you're still unsure, or maybe you want to share your successful start with me. I would love to hear from you. If you write me a note, and it doesn't have to be long, I will share it on an upcoming episode. And maybe together we can inspire the other listeners. So take a leap of faith and reach out. I would be super grateful. Until next time, much love.